The string lights above the reception hall flickered like nervous fireflies as Susan slipped into her seat in the third row, not too close, not too far, just enough distance to stay invisible. She smoothed the fabric of her navy dress, the one Emily had complimented when they tried it on together last fall. "You look like elegance," her daughter had said, and Susan had carried those words like a love letter, replaying them every time doubt crept in. Now she sat clutching the small velvet purse in her lap, trying not to feel the ache in her chest as the guests trickled in. The tables were draped in ivory linen, the centerpieces bursting with blush roses and eucalyptus. It was the kind of wedding Susan had always dreamed of for Emily, except she never imagined watching it unfold from the shadows. Her ex-husband David stood near the bar, laughing easily with a group of his old college friends. Monica was beside him, impossibly poised, radiant in her emerald green gown. Not a wrinkle out of place, not a doubt in her eyes. She looked like she belonged there, and more than that, she acted like this was her daughter's wedding, not just her stepdaughter's. Susan pressed her lips together and turned away. She didn't need to make a scene. This wasn't her day. But still, she had hoped for something. A thank you, a mention, a simple, "This is my mom," from Emily. Instead, she had arrived alone, ushered quickly to her seat, and watched as Monica and David greeted guests arm in arm. Susan had raised Emily through scraped knees and sleepless nights, through lost teeth and broken hearts. Monica had entered the picture when Emily was already in college. But tonight, she was center stage. The music shifted, signaling the arrival of the bridal party. Susan's breath caught when she saw Emily, her baby, walking down the aisle, with tears in her eyes, her arm looped through David's. Susan remembered holding that same hand when Emily was 4 and terrified of her first swim lesson. She remembered braiding her hair before picture day, warming bottles at 2 a.m., whispering lullabies through tears when money was too tight and the nights too long. And now, this? The ceremony was brief. Beautiful, bittersweet. Susan clapped with everyone else. She even smiled. She tried not to notice that when Emily and David lit the unity candle, Monica was the one who stepped forward beside them. She tried not to flinch when the officiant thanked the parents by name and only mentioned Monica and David. She tried not to look down when the seating chart labeled her as Susan, guest. But pain, no matter how carefully buried, has a way of rising like smoke. The dinner began. Toasts followed. Monica was the first to speak. "She's my daughter in every way that counts," Monica said, lifting her glass. "From the moment I met her, I felt like we were always meant to find each other." Polite laughter. A few claps. Even a tear or two. Susan's hand trembled as she set down her fork. She took a slow sip of water, willing herself to stay composed. Her throat tightened. Then David stood. "She wouldn't be the woman she is today without Monica," he said, smiling. "You were there through every challenge, every triumph." Susan's vision blurred. Not once. Not once had he said her name. And then Emily, beaming, stood and hugged them both. Susan felt something break. Not loudly, not dramatically, just quietly, like the sound of a thread snapping in the dark. As the MC approached the mic to close the speeches, Susan rose from her seat. She didn't plan to. She hadn't rehearsed. But her body moved before her mind could stop it. People turned as she walked. A few guests whispered. Monica blinked. David froze. Emily looked confused. "Mom?" Susan stepped onto the small stage and reached for the mic. Her voice was steady, low, but clear. "I was the one holding her hand during her first heartbreak," she said. And the room fell silent. The silence stretched. Not the awkward kind that begged to be filled, but the heavy, breathless kind, like the moment before a storm cracks the sky open. Susan stood under the soft chandelier lights, her hand still loosely around the microphone, her heart pounding loud enough she was sure it could be heard through the speakers. Emily's eyes widened. She took a half step forward but stopped. David's jaw tensed. Monica tilted her head, a practiced smile plastered across her face, frozen in place. Susan breathed in. I was there the night Emily came home crying after her first breakup, she said, her voice calm. I remember sitting on the edge of her bed, holding her as she sobbed into my sweater. I remember baking brownies even though I was exhausted from my second job, just so she'd feel a little better. Her gaze swept the room. No one moved. I remember teaching her how to drive, she continued, a small, genuine laugh escaping. We must have nearly taken out 5 mailboxes, but we made it. I remember every recital, every science fair, every time she fell asleep on my lap during the credits of a movie. She turned toward Monica. I don't doubt that you love her. I don't doubt that you've played a role in her life. But I won't let a rewrite of her history erase the pages I bled into. A quiet murmur moved through the crowd. Susan looked at David. You may not have seen me, but I was there. When she had her first fever. When she couldn't sleep unless I left the hall light on. When we had no heat one winter and we bundled together under every blanket in the house. Then she looked at Emily. And I know this isn't your fault. You're caught in the middle of 2 lives you didn't ask to separate. But sweetheart, her voice softened, trembled just slightly. I need you to remember. I need you to say, even if only to yourself, that I was there, that I mattered. Tears pooled in Emily's eyes. I'm not here to take anything away from today, Susan said, stepping back slightly. I'm not here to steal anyone's spotlight. I'm just tired of being asked to clap for a story where I've been written out. She set the microphone down gently on the podium. The room was silent. No claps, no gasps, just stillness. And then, as Susan turned to step off the stage, Emily moved. She crossed the floor quickly, arms outstretched, her veil catching ever so slightly in the breeze from the ceiling fan above. Mom, wait. Susan turned just in time to catch her daughter's embrace. The moment stretched like a thread pulled tight, then gently let go. Emily pulled back, voice barely a whisper. I'm sorry. Susan shook her head, blinking back tears. You don't need to be. I just needed to be seen. From somewhere in the crowd, a single pair of hands began clapping. Then another, and another, until the whole room was on their feet. Not for drama, not for spectacle, but for truth. For a mother who had quietly carried a daughter through her childhood, now finally carrying her own voice. Susan didn't stay for the rest of the party. She slipped out after dinner, kissed Emily on the cheek, and whispered, You looked perfect, darling. She left with no fanfare, no confrontation. Only peace. And for the first time in years, Susan walked into the night not as someone's ex or guest or background figure. She walked away as Susan. Whole, heard, and absolutely unforgettable. The rain had started by the time Susan reached the parking lot. It wasn't dramatic, just a soft, steady drizzle that felt oddly appropriate, like the sky itself was offering a kind of gentle absolution. She slipped off her heels and walked barefoot across the damp pavement, each step grounding her more than any therapy session ever had. She didn't cry. Not yet. She wasn't angry anymore either. What she felt was something quieter, something closer to release. Her phone buzzed. She considered ignoring it, but when she glanced at the screen and saw Emily's name, she answered. Hi, sweetheart. There was silence for a beat. Then Emily spoke, her voice thick. You were amazing. Susan's breath hitched. I didn't mean for it to happen like that, Susan said softly. I didn't go there to make a scene, I just... You didn't make a scene, Emily cut in. You told the truth. I should have done that. I should have acknowledged you. Susan leaned against the side of her car, the metal cool against her back. You were under pressure, she said. Weddings are complicated. Emily let out a broken laugh. Yeah, especially when you've got one parent trying to turn everything into a PR campaign. Susan stayed quiet. I was scared to upset him, Emily admitted. To upset Monica. She's been good to me. But I didn't realize how much I was hurting you. Susan closed her eyes. I wasn't expecting a speech. I wasn't expecting roses. I just wanted to feel like I belonged." A pause. "You do," Emily whispered. "God, Mom, you always have." Susan's lips trembled. Finally, the tears came. Quiet, cleansing. They didn't talk long. Emily had to get back inside. But before she hung up, she said something that stitched a tear Susan hadn't even realized was there. "Thank you for raising me. For everything. I hope I'm making you proud." "You are," Susan whispered. "More than you'll ever know." After the call ended, Susan didn't rush home. She drove slowly, letting the rain tap against the windshield like a lullaby. When she reached her little house, she changed out of her dress, made tea, and sat down at the desk where she hadn't written anything in years. The screen blinked back at her. She opened a new document. "The mother they tried to erase," she typed. And then the words poured out. Not just the speech from the wedding, but the nights of loneliness, the court hearings, the Christmases spent alone when David took Emily skiing with Monica's family. The courage it took not to badmouth her ex in front of her daughter. The way Susan always showed up anyway. The invisible sacrifices. And now, finally, the visibility she had claimed back. 3 hours later, she had written the first 40 words. And she felt lighter than she had in decades. She didn't know if anyone would want to read it. But that wasn't the point. She was no longer writing to be seen. She was writing because she already had been. For once, that was enough. Susan hadn't meant to post the excerpt online. It was late, almost midnight. The house was quiet in that oddly alive way. Homes are after a storm, walls humming with settling moisture, pipes sighing like old lungs. She sat curled on the worn velvet chair in her study, rereading the first few pages she'd written, unsure what to do with them. Then, almost without thinking, she opened her long-abandoned blog. It had been years since she touched it. Back then, it was mostly reflections on motherhood, grief, small joys read by maybe a dozen women, mostly fellow single moms from a parenting forum. But something in her chest urged her forward. Not for attention, not for pity. Just to release the words from the prison of her hard drive. She titled the post, "To the Mothers Who Sat in the Third Row." Then she hit publish. She closed the laptop and went to bed. She didn't expect what came next. By morning, her inbox had 117 new emails. By noon, the post had been shared over 30 times. And by that evening, a woman from a podcast emailed asking if she'd be willing to talk. Even just 5 minutes. "Your words cracked something open in me." Susan stared at the screen, stunned. The comments were pouring in. "I was the mother in the third row. Thank you for speaking. I raised my son alone for 16 years. His stepmother gave a whole speech at graduation. I was never even mentioned. I cried reading this. My mom needed to hear it too. I sent it to her." Some were raw, some were angry, some just said, "I see you." And for the first time in her life, Susan didn't feel alone in her silence. That weekend, Emily came over with a bouquet of sunflowers and a copy of the New York Times. "Page 17, she said, grinning through tears. Susan opened it. Invisible no more, the mother who reclaimed her story at her daughter's wedding. They had printed her name, her words, her truth. "I still can't believe it," Susan whispered. Emily took her hand. "You didn't just speak for yourself, Mom. You spoke for every woman who sat quietly while someone else told her story wrong." Susan looked down at their clasped hands. "You're not mad I took the mic?" she asked. Emily shook her head. "I'm proud you did, and I'm sorry it took me so long to say it." They didn't need many words after that. They sat together in the sunlight, flipping through the article, sipping tea, wrapped in the gentle quiet of understanding. That night, Susan opened her email again. There was one from a publisher. Subject: "Let's talk about the mother they tried to erase." It wasn't flashy, no promises of fame. Just a simple message. "Your voice is powerful. And overdue. We'd love to help you share it." Susan leaned back, blinking fast. It had taken years for her to be acknowledged. Decades of disappearing in plain sight. But now the world had turned its head. Not because she shouted, but because she finally refused to whisper. Susan hadn't stepped inside a publishing house in over 30 years. The last time she did, she was 29, wearing scuffed heels, clutching a battered folder filled with poems written during nap times and midnight feedings. Back then, the editor had smiled politely and said, "You're a mother first. That's beautiful. But motherhood isn't marketable." She never submitted again. Now, walking into the modest but vibrant office of a woman-owned publishing startup called Hearth, Inc., Susan wasn't the same young woman desperate for validation. She was 62, calm, clear-eyed, and finally, in possession of her own narrative. "Ms. Whitaker," a young assistant greeted her. "We're so honored you're here. Our whole team has been passing around your wedding speech like scripture." Susan laughed softly. It wasn't a speech, it was a survival instinct. The meeting that followed was nothing short of surreal. 3 editors, 1 marketing lead, all women. All of them nodding and taking notes while Susan shared her vision for the book, a collection of essays and reflections, part memoir, part rallying cry for every woman who's ever felt pushed to the background of her own story. "We want to keep the title," one editor said. "The mother they tried to erase." Susan smiled, hands warm around the offered cup of tea. "It still feels strange," she admitted. "Being seen." The marketing lead leaned in, eyes bright. "Not strange, necessary." In the weeks that followed, Susan poured herself into writing. The words came faster now, freer, no longer clogged by years of fear or modesty. She wrote about her early marriage to David, about the slow erosion of her identity as she morphed from Susan to wife, then from wife to ex-wife, and finally, somehow, just background presence. She wrote about motherhood messy, sacred, exhausting, euphoric. She wrote about single nights on cold bathroom floors and the quiet triumph of tying her daughter's first ballet shoe. And she wrote about the wedding, every stinging detail, every breath she held back. But most importantly, she wrote about after. The rebirth, the unapologetic return to visibility. Meanwhile, the internet kept doing what it does, bestamplifying what resonated. Clips of her wedding mic moment were now being used in TikToks and reels titled, "When Mom Snaps, in the Best Way." The wedding speech that healed me. Proof that truth always finds its way out. Even Monica, the stepmother, had gone conspicuously silent online. Susan didn't take pleasure in that, but she noted it. Truth had a way of rearranging power dynamics without breaking a single plate. The night the book cover was finalized, Emily invited Susan over for dinner. There were no white linens or centerpieces. Just pasta, wine, and music playing low from the kitchen speaker. "I can't wait to read it all," Emily said, sliding a proof copy into Susan's hands. On the cover was a photograph Emily had taken, a black and white profile of Susan, half in shadow, half in light. "I want people to know," Emily said, "that you weren't just the woman who took the mic. You were the woman who lived the story long before that moment." Susan looked at her daughter. And for the first time, she didn't see a child caught between loyalties. She saw a woman, a witness, a reflection of herself. That night, Susan walked home under a sky stretched with stars. No fanfare, no applause. Just a quiet, steady knowing. She had stepped out of the 3rd row and into her place center stage, not for attention, but for truth. The book would be out in the fall. But her voice? Her voice was already echoing in hearts across the world. The day of Susan's book launch felt nothing like the day of her daughter's wedding. There were no towering floral arrangements, no soft chamber music or color-coordinated place cards, no Monica in a designer gown, and no David at the microphone rewriting history. Instead, there was a bookstore in Brooklyn, warm with the scent of paper and old wood, packed wall to wall with women of all ages. Some came alone, some with daughters, a few with mothers. all of them holding first editions of the mother they tried to erase, pressed gently to their chests like something sacred. Susan stood at the edge of it all, watching. It still amazed her this unlikely, late in life unfolding. A quiet voice tapped her shoulder. "We're ready when you are." The small stage near the back had been dressed simply: 2 chairs, a standing mic, a jug of lemon water, and a backdrop of shelves filled with memoirs by women who'd once been told their stories were too ordinary. She stepped up, palms cool, heart steady. "I was 62, she began, "when I realized I had been narrating everyone else's story but my own." A soft rustle moved through the room. A shared inhale. "I was the mother who ironed costumes for plays I wasn't invited to. The woman who packed school lunches and never got mentioned in the graduation speech. The ex-wife who was supposed to stay in the corner, silent and pleasant, while the family photo moved on without her." She paused. "But I took the mic, just once, and somehow people listened." Nods. Tears. One woman quietly reached for her friend's hand. "I didn't do it out of bitterness. I did it because I finally understood that silence isn't the same as grace, and invisibility isn't a virtue." She smiled then, a little shyly. "I wrote this book for every woman who gave and gave until there was nothing left for herself. And for every daughter, granddaughter, sister, and friend learning how to see those women clearly, fully for the first time." When she sat down, the applause came like a wave. Not thunderous, but warm, deep, real. That night, Susan returned to her small home, her mailbox stuffed with letters from readers across the country. One envelope, tucked between a magazine and a flyer, had no return address. She opened it slowly. Inside was a note handwritten, careful. "Susan, I watched the video. I read the book. I know I hurt you. I let someone else take the credit because it was easier. I don't expect forgiveness. But I want you to know, I'm sorry. David." She stared at the signature for a long time. She didn't feel triumph, or even relief, just a sense of completion. She folded the note and placed it in her drawer, not to dwell on, but to acknowledge. Then she lit a candle, opened her notebook, and began drafting her next piece. What happens after you're finally seen? 2 months later, her book hit the New York Times bestseller list. Emily hosted a small celebration in her apartment. Just a few friends, a lot of laughter, and a chocolate cake with white icing that read, "To the woman who rewrote the ending." And Susan? She didn't disappear after the spotlight faded. She stayed visible. She kept speaking. Not to be applauded, but because her voice, once buried, had finally remembered how to rise. And it wasn't going back underground. After years of silence, Susan found her voice, and so can you. If this story moved you, or reminded you of someone who deserves to be seen, share your thoughts in the comments. Have you ever been erased in your own family? Comment 2 if you felt seen. Comment 7 if you've ever had to rewrite your story. And don't forget to subscribe to Revenge with Emma for more stories like this, because being invisible is never the end of our story.